Welcome to the show. Welcome to 100% Tilted. I am your co-host, rolling solo today, Michael David, on 100% Tilted discussions with winning underdogs. And today in the studio, we have an interesting fella, a guy that you probably don't want to run into if you're on the wrong side of the law and you've decided to not show up in court. But this guy is a business owner, entrepreneur. To his credit, I believe around or over 500 skips, people that he's caught being a bounty hunter. Also a resident of Houston, Texas, actually Conroe. Is that right?
Montgomery County, baby.
Bail bondsman, husband, dad, son, brother, friend, and one of the most fierce bounty hunters in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, to the 100% Tilted show, I give you Elliott Sondag.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me, brother. Yeah.
No, it's kind of nice having an intro, right?
Yeah, I like the intro, man. I was kind of, my ego was kind of, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Had to readjust myself.
Man, how are you?
Good, man. Yeah, I've been, it's good to be here, and it's good to kind of check in, you know what I'm saying, with another fellow traveler, man, business guy that I could share a little bit with. You know, I've just, like we talked about earlier, just been transitioning through the last corporate business that I've been in for the last 18 years, involving family and another business partner. And
is that how you got into it, by the way?
That's bail. Yeah, that's bail. Well, I actually got into bail bonds. I think my dad started it, but I think the reason he started it is because I was such an outlaw teenage kid. I think he probably had to get me out of jail
Didn't get
a
that
bunch
vibe.
of times. Yeah. I think I was his first client, kind of like the
Get
Hair
Out
Club for Men. Not only am I an owner, but I'm a member. You know what I'm saying? So I had, my teens, I was a very wild kid. Hence me being a recovering alcoholic and drug addict today. You know what I'm saying?
No shit.
Been sober for 16 and a half years. I lived a wild life, you know what I'm saying? And I did end up in jail a handful of times. So I think that's what, we jokingly say that in the family. That's why we got in the business. But I think it was a lucrative thing for my dad at the time, back in 1995.
Less out-of-pocket expense, right?
Yeah, right? So I think, fast forward when I kind of got my life together and joined the company and we formed Bail Management Incorporated, I became, I was really good at what I did, you know what I'm saying? Because I'd been in jail, I'd been addicted to drugs and alcohol, you know what I'm saying? I'd put my family through the ringer, you know what I'm saying? With them having to get me out of jail and me, doing what I did in my addiction, So I think that is what made me rise to the top in my industries, because I just knew firsthand, what that was like, not only for me, but for what I did to my family. And so that kind of transferred over to bounty hunting for me also, like that criminal element and kind of how that person may think, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been there, I've never been on the run or nothing like that, but I've been.
You knew them because you were them.
Yeah, truly, you know what I'm saying? And most people that we run into in my industry are in some form battling with alcohol or drugs. You don't go to jail sober. You know what I'm saying? That's what I found.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's just after doing this for so many years, it's just not something that, traditionally you're drinking and driving, obviously, because you're drunk. You know what I'm saying? You're stealing from, Walmart because you're high on drugs or pills. You know what I'm saying? You're driving without a license because your license got revoked from a DWI. It's just, cyclical. It's like a trickle down effect a lot of times from drugs and alcohol. I don't have many guys, call me from jail that just decide to beat their wife up. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Normally they're intoxicated and getting an argument, and then there's restraining on somebody's part and the cops come out. But, ultimately, if that person hadn't been, a couple too many drinks in, they may have thought a little better about that argument with their significant other, or restraining that person or whatever. So,
I'll be honest, I live in the burbs, a little sheltered. And don't really see the criminal aspect of it, which you see. This is your job, right? And this has also been kind of part of your life for a long time, in that sideways with the law, right? You just showed up with like a bag full of onions, like of all these layers. Like I just want to peel back, Yeah. But from the suburbs and the bubble, and you kind of you go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station, you see the reports on the news of a shooting or a stabbing, but it seems so far removed, right? And I mean, Conroe, where I live, I'm on the northeast side of Houston. Conroe's, 15, 20-minute jaunt, not that far away. But, we go downtown, we see all the bail bonds offices down at the courthouse. You always see that in whether it's a little town or a big city, there's bail bondsmen or, all around the courthouse and stuff, and near the jail where I guess people can go and bail their kid out or their husband or their brother or whatever. But crime is rampant.
Yeah.
I mean, it keeps, how many bail bondsmen would you say between Harris County, Montgomery, just in the Houston, Metroplex, how many bail bondsmen do you think there are?
I mean, I have offices in both Montgomery and Harris County. So in Harris County, I have my godfather's bail bonds office. And then in Montgomery County, I have my 4A Better Way bail bonds office. Whether people are up or not on current events or even yourself, we discussed it a little bit. I mean, there's been a lot of reform going on in the jail and the bail industry over the last, really probably 4, 5, 6 years. And so to answer your question, there used to be around 100 bail bond companies in Harris County. There was a whole lot of bail bond companies. It's an industry that's been around for 100 plus years. But when all this jail and bail reforms, started coming down the pipe, kind of out on the West Coast and the East Coast, we just never thought it would really move to Texas, much less Houston or Montgomery County. But it's been well and alive here for the last probably 2 years. And so, I'd say that instead of doing like a commercial bond, let's say you got picked up for a DWI and they gave you, let's say, a $5,000 bond. The way that they're doing it now, and I think the way the system was originally designed was to, if maybe you're a first-time offender, that they would give you what's called a PR bond, where they let you out on your own recognizance, personal recognizance bond. So, once they started kind of transitioning over to a lot of this pretrial release or these personal recognizance bonds, obviously we were no longer posting bail, from the commercial bail side. So I would say there's probably a third of the bail bond companies, that have been around for, years and years and years. A lot of them had to close their doors, in the Harris County area. So, which brought a lot of there was probably a handful of companies that went from Harris County up here to Montgomery County, which has also affected my business here at my Montgomery County locations. So there's been a lot of change in the bail bond industry.
Is there money in it though?
I mean, there's money to be made. I think that, with all this bail reform that's kind of come down the chute, I think it's kind of gotten twisted, like a lot of good things, can happen, when they're trying to do the right thing and try to help out the poor or these indigent people that may be incarcerated in jail. I think the pendulum's kind of swung a little too far. And so, like, maybe some of these, the way this system was designed originally for like a first-time offender, let's say my kid gets caught stealing something from Walmart, first-time offender, they go to jail, slap them on the wrist, give them a little PR bond, let them out. But like I said, that pendulum swung so far to the left now that, let's say Bob Smith, who's been arrested 30 times in Harris County, been to prison, been to state jail, missed court dates before and been on the run, and they're giving guys like this personal recognizance bonds, So like everything that kind of comes along sometimes with these good ideas that people have or these groups have, sometimes it just gets a little too far out there, man, because I think there should be a little bit more of qualifications behind who gets a PR bond or gets released on their own recognizance.
There certainly seems to be a lot of question right now with part of this COVID pandemic thing is letting a lot of the prisoners out to help instigate social distancing within jail. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, that's how, I've spoke with the sheriff and some other people here in Montgomery County because my business has drastically been affected here in Montgomery County. And I think that a lot of this pretrial and this PR, because, Montgomery County is a pretty red county. I think it's one of the most populated Republican counties in the state, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Steve Toth actually said on our interview a couple of weeks ago that Montgomery County was one of the majority counties that, was massively percentage was red.
So with the bail reform deal, it's been kind of a traditional, kind of a left deal, kind of a Democrat deal, kind of trying to help out the indigent or these poor people that are wrongfully incarcerated in jail. I promise you that these high percentages of people that you're seeing incarcerated in these jails aren't stuck in there on little $500 misdemeanor bonds. That's from all the work I've done and all the research I've done. These people that are overpopulating these jails are people with parole violations, probation violations, immigration, high first, second degree type felony charges. I mean, that's what's clogging up a lot of the jails. I think so with Montgomery County, to switch back over to what you were saying, like with Montgomery County being a very conservative kind of a red county, we really never thought bail reform would come up here. Well, COVID segued that in right into this being like today. I was looking at the court docket, and I think over half the people that got arrested last night were released on some type of PR bond, personal recognizance bond. And these are all types of misdemeanors, and even some of these state jail felony type charges, so they're releasing people on felony charges, 4 to 200 gram dope cases on PR bonds, assaulting a police officer, all kinds of different charges that people have been getting released on these PR bonds. So with COVID, when it came in, they're like, we don't want the jail being, infected, with COVID. So we're going to release all these people on these PR bonds. Well, in my little pea brain, and the way I'm thinking is that if you bring somebody into the jail for 6 or 12 hours, even if you do release them on a PR bond later on, you still brought them into the jail, So I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not the sheriff or, constable or the DA or anything in Montgomery County, but, if you're going to be releasing these people anyways, I'm wondering why they're even bringing them in the jail. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, what's really the whole goal of jail and prison is trying to reform, right?
Yeah,
Penalize
so.
for their actions and reform.
Think so, yeah.
But if the reform really worked, why do we still have this perpetual problem?
Oh yeah.
I mean, how many arrests do you think have been made just in the past 30 days?
Here in Montgomery County?
Montgomery County and Harris County.
Oh man, I mean, I've seen arrest records as high as 500 people a day in Harris County. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking like the third largest city in the nation, right? Third or fourth, I think. Yeah, fourth largest city in the nation. So I mean, we're talking millions of people in Houston, the Harris County area. God. I'd say Montgomery County could be anywhere from maybe 20 to 50 people, depending on the day. In Montgomery County. So, I mean, there's a ton of people that get arrested. There's a ton of people out there messing up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. I mean, they're going to, like the legalization of marijuana and things like that. I'm like, oh, that's fine, whatever. I mean, like, I've been missing like that. The decriminalization of pot has gotten really, I mean, even though Texas, obviously, it's not legal here, I think maybe for some medical reasons and stuff like that. But as far as like, they kind of went from like Montgomery County, when I first started doing bail up here, I mean, they would scrape seeds and stems out of your floorboard and charge you with marijuana possession. You know what I'm saying? It went to going in and getting PR bonds for pot possession, and then it went to citations on the side of the road. And then I've seen, I've heard from a lot of law enforcement that, they're not even accepting charges now when they pull somebody over a marijuana charge. So, I mean, a lot of stuff's changed in the 20 years I've been in the business. I mean, it's, I don't think we'll ever do away with prisons and state jails and county jails and all that stuff, no matter how kooky it gets, you know what I'm saying? I think it's just something that, like bail's been around for years and years and years and years. And I think that it's going to come back around. I think that they'll see, like even in Harris County, like Kim Ogg, the DA, and Art Acevedo, I think, the police chief down there. Yeah. When they came in a couple years ago with some backing from some big powers that be, I think that was one of the top priorities, was pushing this bail reform. And I think after 2 years or so, now they're kind of seeing the repercussions of just cutting people loose. You know what I'm saying? And they're going, oh, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, they're on record, the police chief and the DA, of going, oh yeah, we don't know quite about the PR bond deal now. It's kind of coming full circle. Because I mean, in extreme cases, they've seen murder cases and a lot of rise in crime, because sometimes somebody needs to sit in jail for a week or two or a month. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes maybe they're drinking a little too much or doing a little too much drugs, or pimping hoes or stealing stuff, and they need to go sit their ass out. You know what I'm saying? They need to go sit down for a week or a day or a month or whatever, and kind of get back out and kind of maybe, get a new view on things. But they're just cutting them loose. I mean, you're getting arrested and you're back out hours later.
But okay, so
what's happening with that, MD, is that there's no real repercussions. They are going to have to go to court eventually. You know what I'm saying? But they're getting right back out. Like officers on the same shift are seeing people they arrested when they first came on back out before they get off their shift. And so what's happening with that is people are like,
That's
oh,
crazy.
shoot, I can steal this, beat that up, drive drunk this, grab Meemaw's purse, whatever.
There's no fear.
And it just the crime starts to ramp up. And I think they've seen a real rise in murder.